Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. I hope all of you are having a beautiful day. I want to welcome all of you to another weekend of Formula One racing. And this weekend, we are in the United States of America and we are in a very underrated city in the US, and that is Miami. Very hot city, tropical city, very underrated. May not be very known among um, Europeans and the rest of the world, since everybody loves going to New York and LA mostly. But I still feel like Miami has its fair share of recognition and respect in a sense. So we are in Miami, very hot, very tropical type of weather. So it's going to be a challenge for our Formula One pilots. The heat, it's nowhere near close as Singapore, but it's pretty hot, and maybe at a point where it's gonna be boiling hot, not like humid hot, but more towards the boiling hot type of weather. And so it's gonna be a good challenge. No matter how good of a pilot you are, we are still humans, and we're still gonna struggle with the weather. So I expect the pilots to do some good reconnaissance on the weather and work just a little harder than usual to be able to be mentally strong and physically strong for this type of weather, but also the racing. So once again, welcome to the US Grand Prix in Miami. Um, and today, let me start this off with the free practice number one that just finished a few hours ago. Charles Leclerc came in at P3 and Carlos Sainz came in at P5. And let me just even I don't even know where to start from. It's such a good result. Like the car was absolutely flying. It looked very good, and so much good hope coming in as a Ferrari fan. Like I said it last weekend, and I will say it once again. Frédéric Vasseur is putting so much good work. Like I'm so happy. Like I've keep saying to a lot of people, there is a lot of delusional, a lot of critical. I would say even borderline toxic Ferrari fans that I've encountered often, and they always say, "Oh, Ferrari's done. We're never gonna win again. We're never gonna like." They have no hope. Every time you talk to them, no hope comes from their way. I sometimes I don't even understand how can they still be calling themselves Ferrari fans if you don't have hope for Ferrari, if you don't have any love left for Ferrari, you could just go to another team then, like why are you still calling yourself Ferrari and then being the first one to criticize us? So, I had some good discussions with them, and of course it was always negative. It's always like, oh, Ferrari have no this, we're every year we're absolutely shite, and I get that, and it's been a hard season for the last few years for us, but I want to keep the hope, and every year I keep the hope, and it just feels so good finally to have a team principal. And I don't have any hate against Mr. Binotto. I mean, he tried his best, but I feel like he didn't have what it takes to be a team principal, and we did the right thing to bring in Frédéric Vasseur, who right away got up to work, and now we're seeing the results. Like, it feels so good. Everybody can say, "Oh, I think this guy's the right man. This guy's the right man." But it all comes down to result. It all comes down to all these talks. Are they being fulfilled? If Vasseur says, "I'm gonna bring change," are those changes being shown on the track? And our answer to that is it is, and it's just such a good positive. Also, as a Ferrari fan personally, just such a good feeling to see Frédéric Vasseur, Ferrari, and Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz just being on the good path and putting so much good work, and that car looked good, and the improvements and the upgrades that Frédéric Vasseur and Ferrari have put on is phenomenal. Like I feel so good, and I feel like this weekend we may surprise a lot of people. In reality, I must say, realistically, maybe we're not gonna get P1 and P2. It's still a little far stretch. Red Bull are too fast on the straights, and Miami is a track. It is a circuit that have so many straights, and the team that have the best straight, basically the best straights speed is going to be the team who's going to dominate this weekend. And unfortunately, our answer to this question is Red Bull. They have been phenomenal, and their time have been just absolutely out of this mind, out of this world, and they're putting speeds that are just just rocket ship type of level of speed that they're putting there. And I think maybe this weekend might, once again, like the in the beginning of the season, might be their weekend once again. Red Bull are in an absolute tear. We have to give them their respect once again, and I always repeat the same thing because I feel like sometimes Formula Formula One fans can be toxic and hateful, and I always put respect on our opponents. They are also working hard. They also have employees out there. They're also trying their best to compete. At the end of the day, Formula One is all about competition. It's not about hate. I know. Of course, like I don't like seeing Red Bull at the top, but it's competition. So I think realistically, Red Bull is gonna have their weekend. They're probably gonna dominate, since it's gonna be, it's gonna be so advantage. Like they're gonna have so much advantage with this, circuit in Miami with all those long straights. But we may pull a surprise. We may come in race day and get a Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz 1 and 2. I mean, that's the hope that I always have every single weekend. But now with free practice number one, with Charles Leclerc putting a P3 and then Carlos Sainz coming in at P5 is wonderful. But most importantly, I mean, it may not look good on the stats, but looking at just the car itself, and if you truly see, and if you have been able to see the free practice number one, you truly see how much improvement, how much upgrades Ferrari have done to their car, and the car is looking fantastic. And realistically, in a few races, maybe even this race, maybe even this race, maybe even in Miami, we're finally going to be able to go head to head with Red Bull. So see you guys in an hour or two, and after the free practice number two, that I think it will take place in about an hour. I think it's the time fixed for it is 5:30, I think, or earlier. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But it's almost time for free practice number two. So see you guys at free practice number two, and I give you guys my reaction. So thank you very much for tuning in. Bye bye, everybody. Have a great day. Peace out.